Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks Now. If you have been watching my videos of late, I've said that the Bible is pivotal to all that has been going on recently, and in this video I'm going to attempt to show you why and draw some connections together right back to the book of Genesis. This video covers a lot of information, and to do it justice it would need to be very long, but I want to try and keep it short and simple, and you may want to go and research some things yourself to look into it some more. Don't take my word or anyone else's word. Look into these things yourself, okay? And let me know what you think in the comments here or on the website. So, all roads lead to Rome. We'll start with Roman symbols and their predominance all across the world. I touched on this recently with the double-headed eagle. We'll get onto that in a moment, but first let's take a look at this one. This is called the fascis. It's an assemblage, it's a weapon, right? It's an assemblage of wooden rods bound together, typically about 1.5 meters long, bound by leather straps together with a single-headed axe. Sometimes there's a double-headed axe. And this is a symbol from ancient Rome. It was a weapon used to oppress people. It was carried by lictors, who were Roman civil servants, bodyguards to magistrates, and they were used to oppress and execute people who would not submit to the will of the Roman Empire. They were used to flog and decapitate people, basically. Now, this symbol of the fasces can be found all over the place. Here we see it at the US House of Representatives, on either side of the USA flag, either side of where the speakers perform and talk. If you recall, the House of Representatives, they put through the COVID bill. It had the number of HR 6666. Yes? Anyway, you may ask, why are these ancient Roman symbols of oppression, the fascists, up there on either side? Oh, and by the way, this is where the word fascism comes from. It comes from the weapon, the fascis, and the symbol. So why are these ancient Roman symbols in the USA House of Representatives? Fascis, weapons. Fascism meaning a way of organizing a society in which a government ruled by a dictator controls the lives of the people, and in which people are not allowed to disagree with the government. Which is kind of what we have, is it not? They have created an illusion of democracy through the media, when in actual fact it's an autocracy, which they want to now take to a new level with a one world government, as stated in prophecy. Now, back to the USA. One of the reasons for these Roman symbols in the House of Representatives, it says here, is they say the founding fathers used Rome as an inspiration. Of course, the founding fathers were Freemasons. You'll also notice that they have a wreath around the fasces, like the Roman laurel wreath, which is also, you see it elsewhere at the House of Representatives here, for example. There's loads more. You have one at the President's Oval Office, a fascist above the door. We also see the eagle is on top of the fascist mace they use at the House of Representatives. The mace being a symbol of authority, a ceremonial staff, like they use elsewhere in the UK House of Commons and New Zealand, etc. They also have a symbol of the eagle in the ceiling. Now, take note of these ancient Roman symbols, specifically the fasces, the eagle, and the laurel wreath. This is the same laurel wreath you see around the United Nations logo. Again, ancient Rome. The laurel wreath were and are symbols of military victory, of Roman military commanders or emperors who wore them in battle. Why do you think the United Nations uses an ancient Roman laurel wreath surrounding what looks like a circle flat earth map? Roman victory over all of the nations. Just as the World Health Organization also have the laurel wreath on its logo. And then of course UNICEF also use the laurel wreath. All of these international organizations using ancient Roman symbology. The eagle is a symbol of Rome. It's been used over and over. They also use the double double-headed eagle, which was used by the Byzantine Empire, which was the Eastern Roman Empire, and the Holy Roman Empire, which were the continuation of the empire after Rome fell. And the double-headed eagle represented an augmentation of the Roman single eagle, as we can see here. The single eagle, we can also see this in use by the Nazis. You see it here at the top of these things they are holding at one of their marches. It was used by Mussolini. Here we see an eagle holding the actual fascists, holding it with its claws. So you've got two Roman symbols in one. The same fascist weapon symbol from ancient Rome that you saw at the House of Representatives. Oh, by the way, did you know that Mussolini was also an MI5 British intelligence agent? That's something to look into. They're all in the club. Germany uses the eagle. Russia uses the double-headed eagle. All symbols linking back to the Roman Empire, the same Roman Empire that crucified Jesus after the Jews asked them to. You will find these symbols on buildings everywhere. The Roman fascist decapitation weapons, say, here in Nottingham in the UK, or in Paris, France, or in Germany. You'll see the double-headed eagle in the UK, as here in the royal family, the Queen's 1st Dragoon Guards. On the reverse of this Queen Victoria coin. Loads of coins all over the world with royalty from different times featuring the eagle and the double-headed eagle. And laurel wreaths, of course. In the UK you have Britannia, which is supposedly the national personification of Britain, but of course she's wearing a Roman helmet and carrying a trident. Roman rule over Britain ended over 1,500 years ago, so the history books tell us, yet they still keep these symbols. The Knights Templar were a Roman Catholic military order, and the establishment in the UK royal family are all in that club. They wear the cross, the Knights of Malta. Just look at them. Look at what they wear and their connections to Freemasonry. Again, very obvious, very clear, all in the club. Talking of clubs, we have the Club of Rome. No Roman symbols in their logo, just a big old globe. They don't need the symbols. They've got the word Rome in the title. The Club of Rome, it says here, is a non-profit informal organisation of intellectuals and business leaders whose goal is critical discussion of pressing global issues. And they are the organisation that really started pushing the CC33 agenda back in 1972 with their Limits to Growth report, another offshoot of the United Nations. And this agenda is now being used to control the masses, okay? On old Roman coins, the trident appeared on the coins when an eagle wasn't being displayed. And of course, we have Ukraine with the trident symbology now. And they are working very closely with the USA and the UK and the EU. Ukraine, which was once called Khazaria, and the Khazars, who teamed up with the Byzantine Empire, who were the Eastern Roman Empire. An alliance with Rome, which first began, it says here, in the early 7th century, fighting together in wars, yeah? Khazars, at some point also converted to Judaism. Then we have the Freemasons, who use double-headed eagles, especially in regards to the Scottish Rite, Albert Pike, and so on. All of this is Roman symbology. But you'll be told, you know, the Roman Empire or the Roman dynasty, it don't exist anymore. Yeah? Maybe they've changed their brand name, but it's just using the same symbols. The Roman Empire would be labelled today as a fascist empire, that being an authoritarian, ultranationalistic political ideology and movement, usually with a dictator and no form of democracy, usually attributed to an individual country and leader. But what if it was a one-world government? Does this sound like something that might be happening at the moment? Now, I could go on with loads of examples like this, but I want to tie this in with the Bible, right? So now, of course, we know the ancient Romans was a pagan kingdom founded by Romulus, who, as the story or myth states, as a baby was suckled on the milk of a she-wolf, suckled on the milk of a beast. Rome being a pagan kingdom that worshipped pagan gods with festivals that still occur today, but in a different guise, like Saturnalia, an orgy of drink and sacrifice, which is now Christmas, Lupercalia, a pagan ritual, which is now Valentine's Day, and so on. Now this can go right back to Nimrod, the Tower of Babel, but the most obvious is Jacob and Esau in the Bible. So in the Bible, right, you have Abraham. So, when you hear about the Abrahamic religions and the recent Abrahamic house that they are opening soon, which is the aim is to unite all of the religions, like uniting all of the nations. It's on account of Abraham in the Bible, who was chosen by God for his family to go and do special things, right? And he had a son called Isaac, and then Isaac had 2 boys with his wife. 2 boys, 2 brothers, Jacob and Esau. Now this is in the book of Genesis, and these 2 boys, it is said in the Bible that they were 2 nations fighting in the womb of the mother before birth. So this is stating how these 2 are from their future progeny going to create 2 opposing sides, conflicting with one another. It states that when they were born, Esau was born red and hairy, while Jacob was not. Esau was a hunter and lives in the moment type of character, while Jacob is a studious, hardworking, and careful and obedient to God. To cut a long story short, it happens that Esau sells his birthright, you could say means sells his soul in a way, to his brother for some red pottage, which people believe is bloody red meat soup or something like that. Again, another reference to the red colour, and this creates a conflict between the 2. And it then goes on to say that God, in the Bible, God declares that he loves Jacob but hates Esau. And what this means is that out of the 2, God chose Jacob and rejected Esau. And Esau then went on to become the progenitor of the Edomites. Okay, the Edomites in the Bible originate from Esau, so it says, and they had their kingdom of Edom. Edom meaning red. So again, we have the red symbology. It says here, the Hebrew word Edom means red, and the Hebrew Bible relates to it, to the name of its founder, Esau, the elder son of the Hebrew patriarch Isaac, because he was born red all over. Now the children of Esau, the Edomites, made their home high up in the mountains of Mount Seir. Mount Seir is specifically noted as the place where Esau made his home. And this is where they took the symbology of the eagle being so high up. They worshipped a god. The Edomites worshipped a god called Kos, Qos, which is pictured here. The eagle on the head is supposed to be the god Kos. Edom was then condemned by God in the Bible. The main reason for God's wrath and judgment on Edom is given for the violence done to your brother Jacob. Shame shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever. And then we have God saying in the Bible through a vision from Obadiah. Okay, Obadiah 1:1-4. It says here, 1, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom, we have heard a rumour from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. 3, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? 4, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set the nest among the stars, thence I will bring it down, saith the Lord. So, though, what it says here, though you ascend, though Edom has ascended as high as the eagle in their pride, the Edomites thought themselves to be as high as the eagle, and God wanted to bring them down. Now, there are some people who suggest that Esau and the kingdom of Edom then became Rome. and that these hunters that associate themselves with eagles, who were rejected by God, who God said he hated, became Rome, and then the Roman Empire, who then went on to worship false idols to spite God, who went against God. Now, I don't know if there are any bloodlines that exist from back then to now. We do know that these royal families are very picky who they breed with, but this spirit of Rome, this anti-God, anti-Christ international powers that exist, seems to be connected by symbols for sure. Could it come from there, all the way back to the book of Genesis, because God rejected them? Two nations, it said, two nations, two conflicting nations, and one is rejected and hated by God. And that eventually became the Roman Empire. And these colonial, take what you want, pagan, God-worshipping, warmongering, ruthless control freaks who went out and conquered and destroyed anything that got in their way, are what we see now as what influences the world. Another example of this is King Herod. King Herod was the king at the time of Jesus' birth in Bethlehem, and he ordered the death of every baby boy in Bethlehem 2 years and under. It was called the massacre or slaughter of the innocents, and this was done in order to stop Jesus being born. Just like Nimrod, who did the same to try and stop Abraham being born, and the Pharaoh to stop Moses being born, and so on. Now, King Herod was an Edomite, from the kingdom of Edom, appointed as king by the Roman Empire. And here we see a coin of King Herod with an eagle on it. Herod also installed a gilded bronze eagle above the gate of the Jerusalem temple. So all the way back there. And now we see these Roman symbols, the eagle, the fasces, the laurel wreath, today in all of these powerful international organizations. The spirit of Rome lives on today. Clearly, with all of the symbols we can see in these governments and flags and secret societies, and that's why they want to have a one world government. And is this why they want transhumanism and all of this talk about us all becoming our own gods and the hacking of the human body, genetically changing the human race because God created humans and they are against God, they are anti-God. And this spirit of Rome all goes back to God not choosing them, hating them. The ruling powers know that God rejected and hated them and said to destroy them at some point. So these ruling powers are the same spirit of Rome. When you see the word freedom, it has the word Edom in it, and the word freedom attached to the image of an eagle. Does this mean to them freedom from God, freedom from God's rules, freedom from the 10 Commandments, do what thou will, worship pagan gods, worship Lucifer, as we can clearly see the United Nations Lucis Trust, which is Lucifer Publishing, who Freemasons worship. And I haven't even covered the Roman Catholic Church, which was hijacked from Jesus by the Roman Empire in order to control people. So instead of invading, they ruled over them psychologically. The fear of the Roman army was replaced by the structure of fear of eternal damnation, which was a lot less expensive to maintain. Then later, add in the Inquisition and the burnings for those out of line, and you have a very Roman-like means of mass control. The vast array of pagan gods that supported all aspects of daily life became a very similar looking array of patron saints. I mean, just look at the Vatican. They continued the Roman tradition of creating enormous, over-the-top architecture, to show off, and art to substantiate their existence. All of this is more Roman-like than Jesus-like, is it not? So, okay, I hope that works and is not too complicated. There's a lot of information in there. I wanted to showcase a biblical division from the book of Genesis and follow it through to today, with the signs and symbols of Rome still on display in the places of power and across different nations, different races, and different religions as well, and how that reflects in the decisions and the moral outlook of the international organizations who believe they have the power and rule over the world at the moment. God originally rejected Esau in favor of Joseph, and Esau. Edom was the descendants of Esau, who was symbolically identified as red and used the symbol of the eagle, who some claim became the Roman Empire, and that spirit of Roman imperialism, the spirit of anti-God, take what you want, control people, enslave people, oppress the people, and reject God, continues to this day as shown in all of the symbols on display in the places of power. Now, if you think this video will be of use to someone, is useful in any way, please share it. I am shadow banned on all of these social media accounts. The only way a video is going to reach new eyes and new ears will be through you and you sharing it. It's not going to go viral. None of these CO network people are going to share it. So it's up to you how far and how wide these videos will be seen. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to the website hugotalks.com, and I'll see you later.